It's confirmed. We now know the role of one of the Knicks' best and brightest young prospects, as Mike Brown's plans have been revealed by a New York Knicks insider, while also questions have been raised about one specific former Knick who a lot of fans have wanted to see join the team. And now, with the Knicks having interest in adding another big man to the roster, his name is back in the news in the form of Moses Brown, and we're going to discuss all of this, starting with Hukporti, going into Moses Brown later on, and breaking down everything that we have to talk about right now. But guys, before we do that, if you are part of that 57% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe for daily New York Knicks videos. I'm on that grind right now. We are trying to get as many subscribers as possible, hopefully getting to 20,000 before the season begins, and hopefully this race outside is won by someone from the cast of Fast and the Furious. But let's jump into it, guys. There is a lot to go over on the Knicks, as there's been a lot of talk surrounding Ariel Hukporti going into next season. Though he's only going into his second season, he is going to be around 23, 24 years old. He's not as young as a lot of the young guys who are going into their second season in the NBA. Hukporti was supposed to go to the NBA draft in around 2021. However, rupturing his Achilles did cause a setback. He missed an entire year, then had to work his way back, and it took him more time to get to the NBA before in 2024 eventually getting drafted. Now, since then, Hukporti went from being a projected first-round pick to a end of the second-round pick, which he was. The Knicks picked him with the final pick in the draft, and he played a lot better than that. He showed a lot of good moments, looking like Isaiah Hartenstein in a lot of ways, considering he is a left-handed German, who wears number 55, is an excellent high-post playmaker, likes to put the ball on the floor a little bit, wants to flash a bit of a mid-range, and just a bit of a creating down low at the rim, has some post skill that he's really, really excited to try to use. He was calling for the ball constantly in Summer League, and he did have his moments. Now, the Knicks like Hukporti a lot. They drafted him because they were big fans of him, and they thought he was better than his draft selection, of course. Now, going into what James Edwards mentioned on Ariel Hukporti, there has been a lot of discussion about what's happening, and Edwards said, while I had Ariel Hukporti listed as the team's backup center in the chart above, which did show a lineup, just for reference, of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson starting, Edwards said, I don't think he'll be the actual backup center. I'm assuming that Towns, Mitchell Robinson, Gershon Yabusele, and Josh Hart will eat up all the front court minutes, with one of Towns or Robinson almost always being on the court. Maybe Brown sprinkles in a few minutes for Hukporti, particularly because of Robinson's injury history. But I don't see him being a fixture in the rotation to start the season again, unless Robinson misses every 3 games or something for load management. Now, on top of that, what Edwards also mentioned was saying that his hunch is that Mike Brown will consistently use a 9-man rotation. And he said, here is who I think it'll consist of. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, and Gershon Yabusele. I don't think the Knicks have the depth to go 10 deep. Though it may benefit the organization to find the occasional minutes for someone like Pacome Dadier, New York could still use a backup point guard. And Edwards said, as I view McBride as more of an off-ball guard, however, if the Knicks were to use their final veteran minimum spot on Landry Shamet, which I'm led to believe is a real possibility, Deuce McBride will likely be the backup point guard once again. Now, Deuce has said before he can play the point guard position, and I do prefer him as a 2-guard as well. I think of him sort of like an Avery Bradley type player, but at the end of the day, he can definitely hold his own. Also, I think Jordan Clarkson's really a better lead guard than Deuce McBride in terms of ball handling, which is an important thing to consider here when just figuring out what's next for the Knicks in regards to their guards. However, at the same time, they are still going to look for another guard as well. That will be a position they're looking for. Or Tyler Kolek is going to get some use because he can be a lead guard as far as the ball handling and playmaking goes. The scoring and the defense, it's little bit shaky, so there'd be some growing pains. But I do think in a Mike Brown offense, he would do quite well for himself. Now, when it comes to Hukporti, he played in the G League more than he played in the regular season last year, but he didn't get a ton of minutes in the G League because of Moses Brown being the starting center, and we're going to talk about Moses Brown in a moment because you guys have been calling for it, so we have to go over it. I also wanted to go over Moses Brown as well because I covered him a ton last season, but Hukporti put up 7 points, 7 rebounds, and half an assist per game. Again, he didn't play the most minutes in the world and was usually up with the big club just in case of fire, break glass type guy. And Hukporti, he appeared in 25 games, but he didn't get a ton of minutes outside of like 3 outings where he did play very well. I mean, he averaged 2 points and 2 rebounds a game, shot 67% from the field. The very, very limited numbers we saw from Ariel Hukporti, the man actually looked quite talented and looked like he could actually get some minutes, though he was definitely still rusty, which he still is too, or I don't want to say rusty, but it was shaky minutes. So more than anything, it's like when you're going in for 3 minutes and then playing like 9 in 2 weeks, it's going to be tough to get any sort of groove going. So I think with Ariel Washington Hukporti, I love saying his middle name. You wouldn't expect his middle name's Washington, but then you see it fits so well. But when it comes to Hukporti, he didn't get consistent minutes, and that was definitely harmful to him. And not harmful long-term, I mean short-term in regards to the numbers. I do think he'll have a good season next year. And it was also, shout out to Boogie Muse for tweeting this out, saying, it might actually be somewhat beneficial to bring Hukporti off the bench, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes a game, to help the backup big situation. Heard a lot of people calling Yabu the small ball 5, but he doesn't rebound or protect the rim very well at all. And Boogie Muse went on this and mentioned that when you look at Gershon Yabusele, he gets around 12% of the total rebounds when he is on the floor and 1.2% of the blocks. So the numbers don't exactly scream center. I see Yabusele as a pure power forward. Now, when it comes to Ariel Hukporti, he gets around 13.5% of the total rebounds and 6.4% of the blocks. And as Boogie Muse said, both are upgrades. The rim protection is a significant upgrade over Yabusele, who would put it the 3 or the 4, but not the 5, especially considering our roster construction. Now, here's the thing. I do think when it comes to Yabusele, we'd see Mike Brown way more willing to put him at the 5 than the 3, and I actually do agree with that. Look, Yabusele being a small ball 5, we're going to be honest about something. What do a lot of small ball 5s not do? Get the most rebounds or protect the rim the best. That's part of being a small ball 5. Those are the things that you kind of sacrifice when adding that pace and shooting to your 5 spot and going small. And that is the thing. I mean, Yabusele plays real hard, so it'll help, and he has the dog mentality to do that position, but at the same time, it is a big question mark going forwards. Another big question mark for the Knicks is Moses Brown, because when we're talking about backup centers, say the Knicks for some reason don't trust Ariel Hukporti, then you start to look at a guy like Moses Brown. Brown played phenomenal basketball in the G League last year, and for a while it felt like he was a real option for the Knicks to call up when everyone was kind of considering what you do with Mitchell Robinson. Was he going to be ready or not come that regular season? Brown was phenomenal in the G League. Like, straight up unbelievable. He averaged 18 points per game and 17 rebounds last year. The man was unbelievable. He was so good. He was great around the rim. He loves going up for lobs. He's a great offensive rebounder and was signed to teams twice in the regular season. Initially with the Indiana Pacers, where he played a couple games, didn't get a ton of minutes, and then with the Dallas Mavericks, where he was actively good, and they wanted to re-sign him. I mean, Moses Brown put up 12 points and 8 rebounds with a steal in his 4 games of action. And the first 2 games, he really didn't play a ton of minutes. It was in that second 2 games where he averaged around 18 points and 12 rebounds a night and looked like an absolute monster. He was not afraid to shoot the ball, taking 7.3 field goal attempts and shooting 72% from the field. The man was talented. I mean, he barely shot free throws, but he did shoot 83% on them. His true shooting at a 74 is unreal. 2 offensive rebounds. The man was good, and the only reason the Mavericks did not end up signing Moses Brown and Brown ending up back in the G League was because they literally did not have the money. They could not afford him. They couldn't go into that second apron, so they were just blocked from signing Moses Brown to a longer-term contract. Brown didn't get another deal the entire season and finished the year with the Westchester Knicks. Now Brown finds himself as a free agent, and if nothing happens, he's going to be the Westchester Knicks starting center again. So he will be within the Knicks organization. He'll be at the training camps. He'll have his moments. The Knicks, they can't sign him to a 2-way because he's been in the NBA for too long. Now he's had way too many years of NBA service. Brown has been teetering on the edge of on an NBA team to G League. It's been like that his entire career. It's been mainly G League, but there's been times at the NBA level where he's definitely been there and played well. He played well in 40-some-odd games with the Oklahoma City Thunder in their down year, and then outside of that, we haven't really seen much from him. He's been on the Trailblazers a couple times, but he's never put on an actual Knicks jersey. I don't want to say an actual Knicks jersey. He's never put on a New York Knicks jersey, just a Westchester Knicks jersey. And, I mean, he is from New York, so it would be a fun signing for that, right? Went to Malloy High School, played, I believe, with Karl-Anthony, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were there at the same time. Then, obviously, he went off to UCLA, played well there, but he hasn't been able to stick into the NBA level yet, and Moses Brown is someone who I do want to see the Knicks look at because of the production he does give when he gets on the court in NBA action. So I do hope that we see Moses Brown in some light start to get some sort of contract with the Knicks. It would obviously have to be one of those scenarios where effectively the Knicks, they would have to trade away a young player to do this, which does make things a little bit more difficult. But if they trade away Tyler Kolek, then all of a sudden you have room for 2 veteran minimum spots, and you don't need to hold on to that rookie spot as much, and then you could have 2 veterans join the team, and then you could have your pick. I mean, whether you want Moses Brown and someone else, or you want someone else and Moses Brown, whether it's Ben Simmons and Landry Shamet, or Malcolm Brogdon and Moses Brown, or some other variation of those 4, it would be an interesting move, and I would be fine. I would be happy with seeing Moses Brown finally get that shot with the Knicks, because I do believe in him a lot, and I've believed in him for a long time. I know you guys have been asking for what's the deal with Moses Brown, so I did want to do a little bit of an update on him, but really the biggest update we could say on Moses Brown is he hasn't gotten a contract. And if that doesn't happen, he's going to be with the Westchester Knicks next year. He's going to be in training camp with the Knicks. He's going to be able to show Mike Brown what he's got, and that gives him an opportunity. He's going to be able to show out in the G League, as always. Pacome will be down there a couple times as well next year. Not that Pacome's never going to get NBA minutes, but I'd be surprised if he's not getting some G League burn again, just so the Knicks can keep him warm, keep him playing. And then outside of that, we will see Mohamed Diawara hit the G League a little bit as well. James Najee will probably find his way to the G League. Dink Pate will be on the G League with the Knicks. So there's a couple things to cover there. And we actually do have a Dink Pate update as well coming out for you very, very soon. That's the next video that we are dropping. So you want to make sure to stay tuned for that video. So make sure to subscribe, have those post notifications on. Like this video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, have a great day and go Knicks.